And people like to think that, oh, if I just grind a little bit harder, if I push a little bit further, I'll be able to be successful, be happy, and I can relax. I remember whenever I was in track, back during my freshman year of high school especially, and most days that we would go out for a run, I would end up throwing up for one reason or another. It didn't help that my lunches were typically like one of those rolls of donuts that you would get. It didn't help the fact that I didn't stretch a lot before I would run. Didn't help that I was always dehydrated and always drinking a lot of caffeine. There's a lot of reasons for why I ended up throwing up, but I would typically throw up. Whenever I was in wrestling, I really hurt my back and my wrist. You can still hear my wrists clicking and clacking. That's mostly from injuries from wrestling, and I still have back pain to this day from an accident down wrestling. There was this one time whenever I was playing basketball way back in elementary school where I really screwed up my thumb. You can still hear some issues that I have with it. I have like reduced motion with one of my thumbs. I've had a lot of sports injuries throughout my life. I can tell you one thing for certain is that back then, I didn't take it that seriously. You know, as a kid, you typically have an immortal complex. You don't think that you're able to get killed. You don't think they're able to get damaged. You think that you're just going to bounce back when you get older. It turns out that's actually really not the case at all. And I have persistent issues because as a kid, being dumb, I just kind of ignored problems. I didn't take the proper care to heal. I didn't see a doctor afterwards. I just kind of sucked it up. That's why I now have clacking wrists, a weird thumb, and I also have like scars on my face and body from just a bunch of accidents from sports. Today I decided to change the pace a little bit. I have this stupid thing that happened where I woke up this morning, and you know how you wake up and sometimes like your neck and shoulder hurts a lot because you slept on it wrong? That happened to me. I took a sleeping pill because I was just struggling to fall asleep, and because I took a sleeping pill, I slept in the wrong position and didn't wake up or adjust because my body was just dead to the world. So I woke up with this pain, but I think to myself, well, once I get warmed up and kind of get into the groove, I won't even notice it anymore. Now, a good mistake that I made was I didn't take a pain pill that morning from obviously the pain. Had I done that, I probably would have made things significantly worse. I went to go play volleyball. I was so excited to get to play. I got to meet some new players. It was great. I played one match, and my shoulder started to hurt a lot. There was one specific receive where it was really hard whenever they spiked it at me, and whenever I made impact with my arms, it blew my left shoulder back just a little bit too much, and it hurt a lot. I went to the second match, a little more nervous, but still doing pretty okay. And then I started to notice persistent pain in my shoulder, even whenever I wasn't moving it in certain ways. Because originally, if I just kept it still, no problem, even while it was still a lot of pain. I wanted to go through one more match before I left because I hadn't just gone there just for 2 matches. I did that, and the pain was starting to become even more intense. Now, I could have stayed. You know, we were only maybe halfway through the day. We probably could have gone through 3, 4, maybe even 5 more matches, each match lasting like 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes. And I would have loved the experience. I am in love with playing volleyball. I want to play it all the time. So it sucks whenever I have to tell everybody, hey, I'm heading out. My shoulder really hurts. I left early. I went home, took a hot shower. I used a heat pad for my lower back, and then I eventually moved it to my shoulder. Put some lawn pos on my shoulder, which is like these little like patch thingies that make your arm feel better. Took a pain pill, went to work, and here I am many hours later, and it still hurts, but it feels pretty okay for the most part. Like, I'm sure after a day or two I won't even notice it anymore. But I decided that I found my limit. That day, being today, I decided that I was going to prioritize potentially my long-term health, even though it was going to impact my short-term happiness. And it's important that people understand their limits in a broader sense too. When I was in my senior year of high school, like I've talked to death on the channel, I really overextended myself. Barely sleeping, a lot of caffeine, terrible lifestyle choices, and I was able to accomplish a lot that year. But as a result, I spent 2 years afterwards pretty burnt out still, honestly. I was just in a constant state of sleep debt. I was demotivated. A bunch of negative aspects came from it because I wasn't respecting my limits. And people like to think that, oh, if I just grind a little bit harder, if I push a little bit further, I'll be able to be successful, be happy, and I can relax. Once you get in the mindset of grinding and of pushing yourself too far, you don't find time to relax because you realize that by relaxing, you're vastly decreasing your output. That's why a lot of people make mistakes in their first job where they get the job and they go at 100% right from the beginning. But then it's always the expectation they should always be going 100%, and when they ask for more, you can't reach it because you've already reached your limit. which is why I'm at the point now in jobs where I do like 75 to 85% every single day. And on days where I have to overextend, I'll go at 100%. And I'm still able to do deliverables just fine. You just have to understand and respect the limit, because if you try to push it too much, you will burn out. And when you burn out, you will no longer be productive. When you're no longer productive, you will be depressed. I hope you guys enjoyed some of these stories and some of these analogies. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you want to see more, subscribe, and do not forget to keep it casual.